afternoon, everybody. It's 11:30. I've tried to start these meetings on time for the purposes if we have a full agenda. As Elise and Megan have up on the screen is the agenda for those that would like, for those that are in-house here. Your agendas are in front of you, so I'm always welcoming in-person people, but understand that for those, we really do try to keep these as virtual. People have busy lives, lots of information at these meetings, and just to go right into it. So I think I want to do first a logistics. So we've been using the Brockton DBA at Gmail to send out our newsletter. If you're not receiving our newsletter, put your email in the chat, and then that way we can make sure that you are in fact on our mailing list. We really do share that newsletter in addition to these meetings, in addition to the coffees, just because there's constantly changing world that we're in about what's going on and how to contact folks. So we'll talk later about that to make sure that you and Joe are receiving it. So I do want to open the meeting. Like, we do have these meetings, they're recorded, they're put on our YouTube channel. It's shared in our newsletter, it's shared on our website. And if you have topics of discussions for upcoming meetings, send them along to myself or the DBA Brockton at Gmail. Brockton, what are we? I gotta remember.
It's DBA Brockton at gmail.com.
Thank you, Amanda. But please send those topics along. So heading right into it, membership is really important for those that have become members of the DBA. It's either $50 or $100. We are down in our membership. I'm trying to continue to grow that membership, because without your membership, we're not able to do the constant contact newsletters, or we have a revised website. It's de minimis. And following on that, we're going to be highlighting when you will become a member. We're going to be highlighting you. So Dan Evans, be ready. We'll be highlighting you, I think, for next month. But heading right into the agenda is Joe Angelo Cafe. And with us in the office here today is Sheila Angelo. Sheila and Joe have been owners for 31 years. Joe is not going anywhere, but I do want to be able to just talk about the things. We will often get our pizzas and salads for our meetings. They have, what's the DoorDash, and able to just get your food to you if you want. They also have a space. They just last Thursday had the South Junior High Hall of Fame, of which my husband got inducted. But it's a space that allows for people to gather, and again, an environment that's literally around the corner. So what I'd like, I know that's not a fair kind of description of Joe Angelos. I've known both Joe and Sheila for when Jack Units was mayor and I was his chief of staff. We've remained friends, even though I will often get a call from Joe telling me exactly what he thinks. And but that's how this is supposed to work, though. It's all good. So Sheila, maybe you can talk about why the importance of being a member of the DBA.
I think it's very important. As all of you know, that Joe is dedicated to the city of Brockton. Been down there 31 years, even though sometimes there wasn't that many people downtown. We were like the lone person down there, and then Tampa came in, and more businesses have been coming in. I'm very happy that a lot more businesses have been coming down into the area, and I want it to stay that way. And you know, of ours and all these other places are building up downtown, and I think it's extremely important to keep businesses coming into the city. But I am concerned about the homelessness that's coming, and it's getting worse. So this is why I thought, you know, it was important for me to come to this meeting and express that. And I think the police department is doing a great job. They've been helping us out on some of the situations on weekends. And so, but as far as business, Joe's never going to leave the city, not until it's over for Joe. He's going to work until the day he dies. That's just like his attitude about everything. He's a true Brocktonian. His brother was a city councilman, then he went on to be a state rep. And I just haven't seen him in 30 years since we owned Joe Angelos. He's worked every day, he's in there every night, and he's dedicated to the city, and I support him 100%. I support all the businesses in downtown Brockton. I work a lot of nights sometimes on weekends, and whatever we can do to bring in more businesses. We are 100%. My son owns a barber shop.
Right.
He's been down there for probably 15 years or so, and he loves the city. And we support it 100%. And
So one of the things, Sheila, I think has been great that you talked about is, right, it's just not Joe Angelo's Cafe.
No.
You own the building. It used to
Building.
have bowling alley. I'm not a Brocktonian for life, but my understanding that there was a bowling alley upstairs
Yes.
and that Joe you as an organization have also rented out some
Yes.
business, and one of them I know recently had 2 break-ins and had left, but you're continually to look for renters as
yeah,
well.
we had, the first floor is completely, there's other 2 arches. There's 3 people on the first floor that rent other places that are in there now.
Right. Anything else that I missed?
There's also, he's told me something, is considering renting something else for the upstairs. He said something to me the other day, and I
Okay.
don't know what it is, but there's always someone looking to do something else in the building.
Right.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second.
Go ahead. Does anybody have any questions who are from online that would just like to talk about your experience with Joe Angelo's? And I can attest for their food. But I just want to first say thank you for being a member. Thank you for your testimony as being a member of the DBA, but also a property owner and caring about downtown. So just want to say thank you, and for those who are up on I don't see any hand raised in terms of any questions that one might have, but again, thank you, Sheila. So next is an update from the Brockton Police Department, and while Derek Salomon, Officer Salomon, who is our ever-present, but today we have both I'm gonna make sure your title, sorry, Lieutenant Schliemann and Captain LaFrance.
Yep.
I just keep asking that. So they're both here today, and maybe if you'd just like to give an update.
Absolutely. So as far as, of course, Officer Salomon's on a well-deserved vacation this week. He should be back with you next month. But as far as the downtown is concerned, we're continuing the walking beats downtown. Plan on continuing those even as the weather changes. As long as we can keep the bikes out there, we'll keep the bikes downtown. And I know there's been a few arrests downtown. We're continuing to pick up people on their warrants and enforcing the laws downtown. Part of that's just waiting for the court to do their part with it as well. So sometimes we make an arrest today and that person's back out tomorrow, and the court process can be rather lengthy, taking over a year sometimes to get these cases to conclusion. Other than that, we're assisting the DPW with their bridge cleanups a couple times a week. We go in with the Parks Department in the Perkins Park on Mondays and Fridays and make sure those folks are safe while they do their cleanups there. Continuing to meet with the mayor's office and folks from around Irving's Hardware on Thursday afternoons at noontime to deal with the issues surrounding Perkins Park and the mainspring in Irving's, and of course dealing with the quality of life issues and the code enforcement issues as well. A lot of those center around the downtown area, trying to keep downtown looking good.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Captain LaFrance, anything to add?
No, Lieutenant pretty much covered it all.
Thank you. I do know that, as I said earlier, in terms of you, Lieutenant Schliemann and Jasmine, you know, your partners going out there and it's helpful. So also seeing bike patrol, I know with the cold months, maybe not, but it's been well received by people that I have heard from. They're stopping in, they're having conversation. That's additional. I can tell you, well, it doesn't necessarily always solve all issues, but it is at least the presence is, I've been hearing from the great response to that. And there was something else with the PD I think I wanted to talk about, but we appreciate that. I know that, you know, as people say things to me, I usually am pretty quick about sending off a quick email and the response. And while you know, maybe not often talked about, but I think it's the staffing levels at the PD are, I know everybody wishes that we would have another 100. I think as property owners and others would like to see that. We'd like to see additional staffing levels for the social workers and the outreach workers that are out there. And at some point, I do believe that we as a DBA, you know, working, and I know that there'll be some conversations later on with either Jasmine or with Counselor Thompson or others. I know John Messia jumped on as well, that the conversations about working together, you know, it's not just a government issue. It's not just social workers or issues, but it's also property owners all coming together and trying to figure out ways that we can all equally participate, whether it's resources and or going after grants. So
Just to speak
please.
to that, we're in the process of trying to hire 30 police officers.
yeah,
It's a lengthy process, takes up to a year. Before you'll see those folks on the streets, trying to hire 3 police cadets right now. Those are our civilian young men and women that work out of our office and one more thing. Yeah, I lost it.
that's okay, but
Oh, the mental health clinicians. Yeah, they're coming in 60 hours a week. We have 1 full-time clinician, 1 part-time clinician. So they're out there. They're out with our frontline officers on patrol. They're in a rapid response car, so they're able to get to the, any call that has a component of mental health with it and help address that. So they're
Really?
very busy.
really important topic because not this past Monday, but I had been a couple weeks ago at the city council meeting where the part-time adding on to full-time and it's important for the business community, right? So I'm looking at a couple of folks that are on here, including myself. We tend to be the first responders as I'm walking into work and seeing someone who may be on our sidewalks or behind our buildings or what have you. I'm not the first responder in terms of what to do, but understanding that there are some limitations about, priorities about if there is obviously other higher security issues around the city and covering the whole city and not just downtown. But, our goal for today and any of our meetings is not to vent and to blame it's the point it is to say, there's a number of folks that have been trying to deal with it on their own, but we need to not be dealing with it on our own. So great conversations. I would offer anyone, if as we put out our newsletter, Megan or Elise, tell me when we put our newsletter out. I know it just went out last week.
Typically we do it once a month and it's typically the first Friday of the month.
Okay.
We're getting
What-
consistent soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Megan. I would offer for whether it's the mayor's office or the city councilors, for the police department, if you want to share information, particularly like we're videotaping this and most people will probably not go to the recording, but if you want to put some word out about, whether it's the police officers with the counseling, with mental health counseling and or the cadets that are going out, knowing that it's going to take a year, those are things that could be helpful in educating a business. So we do get cameras out at our front office or our back office in our stairwells. And while it may not prevent the incidents from happening, it at least can go back to the tape to know who may be. And I know Jasmine will talk probably a little bit about this in terms of the inventory that's being taken on. So any questions for the Brockton Police Department?
I do.
Oh, yep, Sheila, go ahead.
I need to ask you a question. My employees, when they come to the bar in the morning, homeless or on the benches, they don't have their shoes on, their socks on. And they ask me, because some of them give them a hard time when they ask them to come down off the deck. They don't want to move. So if they get agitated, some of them come at the employees.
Okay.
And they don't want to call the police department because they know you guys are really busy.
They need to call us.
And, and I said, well, don't approach them, try to get into the building and maybe they'll just leave. They throw the chairs at the employees. They
Yeah, you
throw-
should definitely call us on something like that.
You know,
We'll happily remove them. I mean,
you
it
know,
is private property. There's a
you know,
little
this is
difference
what I
on
mean.
public.
So I said, to them,
property.
this is the first I've heard of it today.
Yeah.
And they, and they found the chairs on the sidewalk. They've thrown the ashtrays on the sidewalk, and
Sheila,
they.
what time do your folks come in?
I'll find out, but I think they get in there before 8 o'clock, around 8 o'clock, they're
Okay.
there. But they've looked at the video cameras and I'm surprised Joe hasn't told you any of these things.
Yeah, it's the first.
But-
That's the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're kind of hidden up there, so even to drive by, so. we'll have to
So
get out.
I'll talk to them when I get back.
So, but that's another good point for everybody that's either online or in here. Because it's happened a couple times with some of the folks that I've been dealing with, is like, yeah, I don't want to bother the police
They don't
department.
want to bother.
So, but here's what you need to do. You need to call and have it be recorded, right?
Mhm.
If you don't happen, they don't know about it. And then now, I don't mean to say this in a terrible way, but then I'm having to go bring the mayor on a downtown walk with me so he knows like what's happening, right?
Exactly.
It really needs, and the phone number, if anybody needs to call, because it's not a 911, right? We're gonna have the 508-941-0200.
Yep.
Okay, so
508-941-0200.
And then if you don't have them, no trespassing signs are hugely helpful.
that's another question. And then, and she asked me as I was coming, can you find out, can we put on a sign up, no, these aren't public restrooms? Because she couldn't get a
Yeah.
man out of the restroom.
Yeah, it's private
Yeah,
property.
it's
I said, yeah, right. She goes, well, I don't want Joe to get mad at me. And I said, okay, I'll find out all these things.
So the
Okay?
DBA is willing to buy anybody. If you are looking for a no trespassing sign, we're going to pay for them. I'm gonna say this publicly. I was getting them from Irving's, but they're not a member of the DBA. They're a member of Montello's. I like to buy local, but I'm gonna need to buy local, and I want to make sure that I'm gonna buy to somebody who is a member of the DBA. But the DBA will purchase for you no trespassing sign. So I know in our back, and I'm pointing over here for everybody in the back on Montello Street, there was a cutout and steps, and people have been there and defecating. We put the no trespassing sign. It now gives at least ability for police going by, doing a ride by, to say you're not supposed to be there. And sometimes, for the most part, they will leave, but not always. So call 508-941-0200. And if you do, or if you're experiencing any kind of issues, please make that phone call. Very good points on everything. Where I was going with the newsletter, if you have items, those kind of things, even pen a little article, we'll put it in. That goes for anybody. I'm more than happy to share that information. And as we build that newsletter, it's just another way. Not everybody gets the mayor's newsletter. Not everybody follows social media. We're just trying to make sure that everybody's getting the same message in a very professional and caring way. Any other questions for the police department? Awesome, thank you. I am going to bring up, and I think if Megan or Elise can bring this up. So I was just told last week about this. There was a ruling in Idaho about the judicial court saying that you cannot remove encampments. My understanding is that there is I know I'm going out of order for everybody, I'm sorry, but it'll be worthwhile, thank you, if you can just, how other cities are handling unhoused situations, but that is going to be bumped up to the Supreme Court. What I guess really what I wanted is at least be placed in this forum, in this piece as an education. If you are not seeing encampments being removed, if you're not seeing things moving around, it's because the city's legal office, my understanding is that we can't do that. Am I kind of getting that right?
Specific to public property,
Thank you.
yes, and also contingent on the availability of beds and shelter. Or lack of beds. So if it's private property, by all means, call us. Nobody has the right to trespass on your private property, very limited exceptions. They certainly can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I know Jasmine covered that. Jasmine has twice a month homelessness task force that is exceptionally helpful. I know she shared it in the past, but it's really great conversations to have, again, in some ways a roundtable discussion. So I did want to bring that up. Thank you for clarifying. And if there's others as we go through the meeting who want to clarify, that would be helpful as well. Again, not saying, oh gosh, it's not being dealt with. Have to understand the legality of it, but it's not private property. Private property is still to be protected, and they're not supposed to be on there. And I know, Rachel from Mass Hire, you own your property and you had some issues as well. So, any questions about that decision? If not, I'm going to move right along. So as everybody knows, I was really bugging you know what out of everybody about the SWOT analysis. We received 195 responses. So it wasn't really a survey. It was asking people, tell us what the strengths, what the weaknesses, what are the threats and opportunities. Hence, thank you very much, the Vanna group here that's helping me prompt this. We did it last in 2019, had about 100 people come to the office. This really was generated. And if we can move on to the next slide, if we can make that just a little bit bigger, because my eyesight is not what it used to be. Maybe it's in here. I think maybe it's in here. Thank you. So if you can see here, it's right, the strengths, talking about the what our strengths, we all know this, right? This is why we're in Brockton. We know the strengths, the hardworking people, the fire department, police department, healthcare, city hall is right nearby, the farmer's market. Again, great businesses, all wonderful. Those will continue to be our strengths. I want to go to the weaknesses, right? This is homelessness, mental health, lack of green space, empty space buildings, nighttime panhandlers. Again, I'm not saying anything new, but this is not me saying it. These are 195 people responding, government officials. Please don't get offended, but these are people responses, traffic, dangerous driving, litter, no free wireless, no security parking, trash everywhere. I'm just kind of breezing over this because when we do have a roundtable discussion, we're gonna get into these topics. So hidden signage, Legion Parkway still drug haven. I'm again, one-way streets, Prova's gone. You can see that, right? These again are not anything earth-shattering, but it's 195 people telling us this. If we can go down to, pick one, that doesn't matter where. Let's go to opportunities, right? Services, one-stop shop, meaning you can come to downtown and you can pay a tax bill and then go talk to the chamber and then go to do your shopping and a number of things, right? The history of the people, performance space, opportunities for free sports, local shopping, bring back Prova, downtown market, WB Mason staff are returning slowly. A grocery store, Vincente's is, we consider them around downtown. A dog park would be interested. Again, it's still a hub and it's, the MBTA is right here. While the police department is across from the train stop, you're not going to be going far. You're going to go up Warren Ave. That's only a couple blocks away. But again, that offers some opportunity. Thank you for whoever said growing DBA. There's sometimes I don't think so, but building, repurposing, interactive and fun businesses, right? There's lots of opportunities here. And then just lastly on the threats, the homelessness issues, the drugs, the, policymakers not caring. Again, I don't really want to highlight all of that, but these are what people are perceiving to be as a threat. Greedy businessmen and women, I would probably say, not just being one, business closing, illegal vehicles. So again, I just wanted to give a high level. These are again, what people are saying. It's not Mary Waldron. It's not Old Colony Planning Council. It's not even the DBA. These are 195. My wish would have been to have 500 people responding, right? We know how many people reside in the housing in downtown. I would have really liked to have had more. These will be shared in a much deeper way. Again, as we talk about holding a roundtable discussion, because it's not just about the unhoused. It's not just only about, the traffic and the road closures downtown. It's all of it and being together, as I said in the beginning, government working with private businesses and others. So these are the demographics. The people that responded, those who work in downtown, let's see, where are we? Being a resident responded the most, then those that work in downtown. Those questions were helpful for us, right? The property owners were only 12%, but I think that's relative in terms of you have multiple property owners owning different kind of different locations. And then business owners themselves. Business owners are different than the property owners. So would have had a nice showing, at least at 1.2% from the youth. And I give a lot of credit for the workforce for it, because I know that they reached out to the young adults who are in downtown and appreciate their input. And then lastly, I think there was one more slide. Oh, these slogans. Okay, this is going to be harder to read. So, there's lots of great slogans, Brockton being better together. And, but there's some really great ones that are in here. Where Brockton thrives, the rich history, the diversity, the residents coming together. It's too busy to read. But if you can see, 99% are positive. These slogans, people want to see a thriving downtown. People want to see a thriving Brockton. And, sometimes I only do this because I am one of I'm only one of other 3-4 business organizations in Brockton, but my focus is downtown and will always be downtown. So thank you for those who have participated. I don't know yet what I'm going to do with these slogans. I'd like to bring a separate group together about working with the city's existing slogan that they have, but also talking about hearing the input. The diversity was clearly a very strong proposal. So thank you, Megan and Elise, for pulling this together. Megan took a whole hodgepodge and then she put this together with a great, so thank you both. And again, we'll be talking about when we hold the stakeholder meeting. I do know that I believe that Commissioner Hill, I think, are you on? And I know that you're a bit on a time basis. If you are able to, and I know we're going to get into the others as well, but one of the things that I've heard from people about road closures, and Pat, if you are on, if you can unmute yourself and just kind of give us a little bit of an overview about where we are in terms of road closures and a time frame of the different construction work in downtown. Let me just double check that you are on. City. That's Patrick. Maybe I saw Patrick come and I didn't see Pat Hill. Let's hold on. When Pat Hill does come on, we'll bring him on. Next, I'm actually going to throw this over to, I have on the government side, I have Councillor Thompson, then I'm going to have Jasmine and John Messia. So if I have first Councillor Thompson and then Jasmine and John, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mary. And good morning, everyone. It's always great to be with DBA. Just a couple updates from the city side, the city council side regarding issues downtown. I know as mentioned a little earlier by Mary, the finance committee meeting that we held over the last 2 finance committee meetings to really talk about the issue of the homelessness downtown. And I'll have to tell you, I'm super encouraged by the people through our nonprofits and on the city side working on this issue. I know we're facing challenges and it is at a crisis level, but the people that are working on this issue, are people with, they are knowledgeable, they're dedicated, and I believe Brockton is going to come out of the other side on this relatively well. We're not going to solve the problem, but we're going to work together to mitigate the problem. And I'm just encouraged by what I've learned over the last month or two regarding the homeless issue. And I'm not as discouraged as I was before. And believe me, if I'm lucky enough to be reelected, this is going to be one of my main priorities over my next term. 46 Montello Street. This is the Joffrey Anatoli building at D'Angelo's earlier this month. That building received its site plan approval through the planning department and the planning board. This is a 54-unit market rate apartment complex right next to where the D'Angelo's is, right next to our MBTA commuter rail. This is going to be a great housing development downtown, and I'm glad this project is moving forward. Marvelous Marvin Hagler Park. I filed an order to have this dedicated as a city park through our state legislature. Recently, the Parks Commission voted unanimously to approve this as a city park, and now we'll be back before the city council this coming Monday for a final vote. And so we're happy that process is moving along. I did speak with the mayor regarding the statue and the dedication. Everything is on track for a dedication or ribbon cutting coming this spring, so be on the lookout for that. I filed a resolve that's going to be read for the first time this Monday, and this is regarding our holiday parade. So on November 6th, at the Finance Committee meeting, we'll have Mary Waldron and Amanda Glennon come before the City Council to talk about our holiday parade. And I'm really looking forward to that. And Mary, I promise this time I will wear my Santa hat.
Beautiful.
Also, I filed earlier this month a roadway safety ordinance that was read for the first time in City Council. It has been referred to the Ordinance Committee. That hearing has not yet been set up, but this is an ordinance which will basically direct anybody to use our sidewalks, to use our pedestrian access ways, and prevent them from walking into traffic. If there's an available sidewalk, they must be on the sidewalk. If the sidewalk's not available, then they must walk between the grass and the fog line. So this is something that will help empower our Brockton Police Department to cite those who are walking in the middle of our roadways in the city. Now, this is designated in only a specific streets, but Montello, Main, and some of the side streets, Center Street, Court Street, are all part of this ordinance. So hopefully that will help reduce some of the pedestrian issues that we're having with people being in the middle of the roadway. And so that I'd ask anybody interested in this to follow it in the Ordinance Committee discussion and ultimately in a final vote at the City Council. I know I was speaking with about Brockton PD. Lieutenant Schleelman brought up the issue of the grant funding for mental health, more mental health providers accompanying Brockton PD as they go throughout the city. And I just want to say that, I was glad to hear that this grant was available, that we were approved for it. And I was proud to vote in favor of accepting this grant. And I look forward to the results of having more mental health agents on our street. Sticking with Brockton PD, we talked about the police cadet program. Recently, the city voted for a home rule petition to be heard at the state legislature that would grant a preference when applying for the police department, the Brockton Police Department, that any cadet in which the Brockton Police Department deems deems appropriate, that cadet would get a preference in his application to the Brockton Police Department. And I think that's a great program. Number one, I supported it when instituted, and I support the preference because these kids are working closely with the Brockton Police Department. They know who the cream of the crop is, and to provide them a preference so that we can have the best of that group working for the city, I think is it's a smart thing to do, and I was glad to support it. On October 14th, I attended the Brockton Fall Festival that was at City Hall Plaza Saturday with my youngest daughter. Great time, great hot dogs. Really got to speak to a few people out there, the Lions and Bill Hogan and everybody who attended. It was a great weather day. Really enjoyed being there, and anybody who came out to celebrate that fall festival. It was a pleasure having you out there, and I look forward to the next City Hall Plaza event. I know Jasmine will probably bring this up in Mary as well, but I just at the homeless task force meeting that was held earlier this morning, it was stated that the Brockton Neighborhood Health Center and BAMSI will be conducting a needle pickup day today. That's going to be from 2 to 4 o'clock. So if anybody on this call has a location in which they would like a needle pickup, please give that information to Jasmine or Mary or myself. We'll forward along to BAMSI and Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. This is kind of an organized event. They do it often, but this is kind of a bigger event in which, they'll have multiple organizations helping clean up the needles in our city. So if you know any location of needles or a place which you would like them to walk through, please provide us with that information and we'll make sure they get out there today. Also, during finance this past Monday, I know this is not a downtown issue, but something maybe, I'm happy to share is that we had a company called Air Energy Group LLC come before us looking for a TIF agreement. This is an advanced air compressor and vacuum systems corporation. They're moving their headquarters and their manufacturing operation to the city of Brockton on Industrial Way. And so, Brockton is still attracting high-end industrial corporations to our city. And we're happy to have Air Energy Group operating in Brockton now. Just a few reminders. We have our Veteran Day Parade coming up on November 11th. It'll kick off at 10 a.m. at the War Memorial. If you have any questions, you can reach out to our Veteran Services Office. But this is a well-attended event. I hope to see you there. I'm really looking forward to marching in that parade. Another reminder, we have a city election coming November 7th. So all registered voters in Brockton, I encourage you to come out and vote. We do start early voting this year. This is a new thing that the city council voted on, I believe, earlier this year. And so Brockton does now have early voting. Early voting takes place at the Shaw Center, and that's between Saturday, October 21st, and November 4th. And then lastly, Mary, thank you for presenting the SWOT analysis. I think a lot of the suggestions on that are spot on. And I know when they, in the weaknesses, when they talked about government officials, I'm sure they were not talking about me. But I thank you again for everybody being here on the call. And, and I look forward to our next meeting. Thank you.
Counselor Thompson, thank you very much. I really always appreciate your responsiveness and working with us. So thank you. Jasmine and or John, do either one of you, I know that there was a question in the chat that maybe perhaps Jasmine, you can answer.
Sure. So as for those who have needles that they need to dispose of, any of the places that take back needles will generally take them back. Your primary care facility, the Cope Center, there is one at Champion Plant, I believe, at this time, Neighborhood Health Center. But yeah, they can be dropped off at any of those boxes. And then they will just be disposed of properly through the company that they use. But as for some updates, as mentioned previously, at this time, we are unable to remove encampments off of public property unless there is a shelter bed that we can refer people to. If the person is unable to enter shelter, then we also cannot remove them. What we are encouraging is that people clean up the trash around their areas. And we have seen some improvement in how some of the campsites are looking at this time. We are also encouraging people to try to move to slightly more heavily wooded areas for both their safety and the safety of everyone else. We are looking into with our law department currently what might be options as far as any parks and school property. So a lot of the locations for the parks are connected to schools. So we want to make sure that the children and the staff are safe and aren't going to be exposed possibly to any needles on the ground. So we are seeing if there are options as far as any of those campsites. We've added trash bins near the bridges to try to increase the use of those who are being seen underneath, throwing their items away. There have been a couple of days where we have seen that has been better, and then there will be some days where we have noticed it's pretty much the same. So it's a work in progress. We're going out regularly, encouraging people to clean up their space. As mentioned before, there's just a lot of uncertainty as far as what is available for resources. I'm looking into many different options spanning from public restroom options that might be available and would increase safety for those who access them. And then also as far as grants that would be available possibly for housing options for those who are on the street. I'm available if anyone finds people on private property to come out and talk to people to try to move them along for you in addition to the police department. I am also available if anyone just has general questions that they would like to ask or any concerns that they would like to report. I will be sending a list of locations for needle pickup on a regular basis to both the Cope Center and Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. So I can accept those at any time if you have a location you'd like them to know about. I put in the chat that the homeless task force meetings meet every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. and the link is in there, but I can send it to anyone's email who is interested. But yeah, just a lot of partnership going forward is going to be needed. It's going to take everyone, and it is going to be a long process, but there are definitely options available, and we do see a light at the end of the tunnel. So I just encourage people to remain positive, and if you have concerns, please just let us know.
Jasmine, thank you. I really need to, every time we are either on the homelessness task force and or something else, it is important for me to continue to say that you are really like a one-person office. You do have partners, PD as well as others, and I cannot thank you enough. I wish that there was about 10 of you to help out there, but as you said, with these meetings that you hold, I highly recommend anyone and everyone to come in and listen and participate. Obviously, if you can't get them, the DBA, I tried to attend every one of them, but Jasmine, just if you haven't done it, I can't see the chat right now, but your email address and your contact information would be great. So thank you, Jasmine. I know that Commissioner Hill is joining us and he's breaking away from a conference that he's attending, and thank you, Pat, for coming on. If you can just kind of give an overview about the construction and road closures and processes, and just so it's an overview so folks know why there's all this good things going on, right? Cranes and constructions are really great positive signs. It just comes with a little indigestion. So Commissioner Hill?
Am I off speaker here? I mean, I'm off.
You are.
Everybody hear
We
me?
can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I had trouble getting on, so I just wanted to make sure. You know, I mean, there is a lot of congestion downtown right now. There has been a lot of congestion downtown. And that kind of starts with being Eversource and grid to kind of
Hey,
fix
Pat,
their,
Pat, can I interrupt? Pat, can I interrupt for 1 second? You're a little bit broken up, but if you speak slower, and I'm gonna cut our video off because sometimes that can help. So, oh,
you know what? I'll cut my video because that might help.
okay. Why don't you go ahead? It looks like we're not getting you, Pat.
Mary, it looks like he went out maybe by accident.
Okay. If someone can just monitor the he logging in, and when he comes on, just flag him. What I'll do is bring John Messia on next.
Okay, Mary. I'm not sure if he's going to pop right back on. Good afternoon, everyone. John Messia from Mayor Sullivan's office. Thank you for hosting, Mary. It's always detailed and informative DBA meeting, and encourage anyone to come on to the meetings to gather the information and pass that along to all of our collaborative efforts. I do want to give updates in regards to the downtown business downtown meeting, which is the Irvins one that Lieutenant Sleeman had mentioned. That there is Pat back on yet? No,
not yet.
Okay. So
can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go, Pat. Go ahead, take over. Go ahead.
Okay. You guys hear me okay? All right. So sorry about that. My reception is not so wonderful today. So basically, the long and short of it is because of all the work that's going on downtown, we asked the utility company to kind of get in early and get all their stuff out of the way because we have that project on now that's going to be starting in the springtime. I know it's super frustrating, and we're trying to reel in the detours. We've made some changes to our permit structure. We've entered into a partnership with Ways for us to try to get.
I believe he just left again.
You know what I'm gonna have him do? I'm gonna text him right now and I'm gonna say, John, you know some of what he was gonna say, right?
Yeah, we added an app from Waze, the app Waze, so that you can go on to the app and actually monitor the updates every day. It's daily updates that will guide you around the construction sites. So that's a really useful tool that you can put right onto your phone, apply it right to your cell phone. So I believe that's where he was going. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, Waze is Google Maps. So Google owns Waze. If you use Waze as a navigation system, then it's gonna what happens doesn't we well be called to anyone and then relayed to the people that needed to know, business, the people downtown, the fire department, police department always seem to know about the buses. So
Pat, we might have lost you again, but I just sent you a text. Let's have you can send me an email. We'll share it with the DBA membership and attendees and help spread the word about the efforts and appreciate you coming on to try to update us today. So I would say get back to your conference. And John, I think maybe you can take it from here. Oops, you're muted, John.
Okay, sorry about that. You think I'd get the hang of it by now after all the Zoom calls. Just a couple of minutes because I know that you want to finish on time. So as far as the Clean City crew that's ran out of the HIP, which is the Homeless Improvement Project, Pastor Roberto's church, they have organized and actually recruited more workers that are facing the homelessness in the shelter system, but actually entering sobriety, and they've pulled together and they're actually cleaning areas of the city. One in particular that they took under their belt this week was Perkins Park. They did a really good job. The barrels have been cleaned regularly every day. They are going across the street now and chipping away at Keys to the Kingdom, that easement that's next to the church. So that's going to be finished by next week, Green Street area. So they've really amped up their efforts, and Mayor Sullivan has recognized the fact that it's an actual collaborative effect that came out of Pastor Roberto's mission, and we will be going over there to recognize their crew and to take the welcoming approach that Alex, the lead over there, wants to do by thanking the mayor for all the efforts and going through the motions of supplying the trash bags, the pickers, and the pickup effort. So I just wanted to give everyone an update on that because I applaud their efforts. Like Jasmine said, there's light at the end of the tunnel. It's hard work. Everyone has to come together, but it just seems like the more, as Councillor Thompson mentioned, the more that we communicate, the more people educate themselves about what's going on and pass that message, the better off we're going to be. Brockton's going to move to a better place, and that's what we want the City of Champions to be as best as we can. So that's all I have, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And I do thank the mayor and all the staff for the work and working with us. So, and along with Councillor Thompson. So I'm actually going to move on because my clock in this room is wrong. So I kept looking, I'm like, oh, we've got time. It says it's 12 o'clock here and it really is not that time. I'm actually going to go right through all the rest of the things. This is the coffee caring. This is October 30th. DBA pays for coffee. It's at Alvera's. It really is conversation. Please be there. You get to know some of your neighbors. And then have another opportunity to talk about the things we talked about today. So I do want to say thank you to Alvera's. The holiday parade, volunteer and sign up to participate. We are still looking for volunteers. It is still happening. We are looking forward. It is going to be changing. There is not going to be anything at the end at City Hall at the end of the parade. It is the end of the parade and people are going because a lot of people need to go anyway and it's just works out. So the mayor's office and city councilors know about it. We are working with the Brockton School Department. Please keep an eye on our social media and on our website. This is in the packet that we send out. We are looking for volunteers. We're looking for floats. We're looking for sponsorship, all the above. Last year we had over 4,000 people in the downtown. 4,000 people in the downtown. I know Joe Angelo sold out of things. I know Brockton Beer sold out of things. The merchants sold out of their items. The library with their teddy bear building and their scavenger hunt, they were at their maximum. So the host has spotlighted your video for everyone. Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you for doing that. What else is so the holiday parade? As part of the holiday parade, Ladder One, Company One, they're celebrating 150 years. They're going to be having an open house on that same day. So we'll be incorporating them in the parade, as well as the activities around downtown. And if anyone, Amanda or anybody else knows if I've left anything out, just shout right out. The additional events that we're doing, upcoming events. Thank you. STEM week. It is this week. There's all these things that are happening in the library and across the city within the school department. Check that out. It's also on our social media. The Charity Guild, what they do is just amazing. So they have their event this Thursday, but also we at the next event at the coffee event on the 30th, we're also doing a food can drive. There's a specific group of things that we're bringing that we're asking people to come and bring. It's throughout the month of October. So our partnership, the Charity Guild is a member of us, of the DBA, and we thank them for their membership. So please, the work they do is God's work. Keep going. Also, there's a this is from, I'm trying to think, can we just highlight that? Because I cannot read. Oh, it's in my packet. Sorry, I probably should do this. Thank you. Our partners with the Harambee Learning and Cultural Center, they're having this event, and that is on which day? Oh, October 21st, this Saturday. Keep going. The Pumpkin Cookie Pops with Daphne, that is at the library, Brockton Public Library. That is a free event on the 21st. Master Gardener on bulbs, that's Monday. Is it Monday or 23rd? Is that date correct? Anyway, so thank you, the Brockton Garden Club, which we highlighted last month. There's a floral centerpiece crafts that is at West Acres, October 25th. Halloween special meal dance. That is where at West Acres. Oh, this is from the Council on Aging has been sharing this information. Thank you. Council on Aging for being a member of DBA as well. We're coming up on the farmers market last end of the season on October 27th. Please, great food. And also there always are some other activities that are around. Thank you to the Brockton Farmers Market for being in the downtown. While this event is not in the downtown, the Brockton Bruisers Roller Derby, they're sponsoring this event, and it is, it's a little hard to read. What day is this? Oh, October 27th. Thank you. There's a contest, so they've asked us to support them. Keep going. There's National Prescription Drug Take Back Day on October 28th. That's at 1 Feinberg Way. And then, thank you, Michelle Brace, for being up with the Council on Aging. The October 25th is at the Council on Aging. Thank you. Appreciate that. The Trunk or Treat, that's at the First Evangelical Lutheran Church on October 29th. Early voting. Please look at the schedule. Encourage everyone who can to vote And then, again, to the Boys and Girls Club, I know Derek Heim has been on the Freight Farm Family Market. That is, going on, from 4 to 6 at the clubhouse for each month. It's free of cost. And it happening between now and June of 2024. Our partners, there's a lot of you who are here and on and appreciate you being on today. While we have to scoot off, I don't know if there's anybody that has some additional information. I know Allison from Brockton Neighborhood Health Center. I know we covered the pickup of needles. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody. Does anybody else have anything else to add? If not, I'm not looking for motions to adjourn, but just appreciate everybody. This was probably I mean, I know we've lost a few folks, but thank you to all of our government, Brockton PD, and of course the members for being on. And Dan Evans, we're going to highlight Evans Machinery at the next meeting, so be tuned. Thanks, everybody. Have a
Thank you.
great day. Bye-bye.